So,
Yes.
Evelyn Anite,
Yes, Sudhir.
I would like to know, you have been on the political scene ever since you finished university. You didn't take long and you joined politics. Uh, I remember in 2016, you were one of the people who passed a motion during the Chankwazi retreat to have President Museveni as a sole candidate for the election. Do you still, would you do the same now?
I would, because the justifications I gave for my motion then still stand. First of all, it was a build-up. That motion just did not happen. It was because there was this rumor going around Uganda and the media and social media saying that the then Right Honorable Prime Minister, who was also the Secretary General of the party, was going to contest as the chairman of the party. So at the time, I was the spokesperson of the parliamentary caucus. And it all happened that I mobilized the journalists to come and cover the chairman of the party at the official opening of the retreat. And once I invited them in to come and do the official opening, the first person who spoke before the chairman was, of course, the Secretary General, who happened to be the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So while he was asked to go, invited by the Master of Ceremony to come and make his presentation, there was just this big applause and applaud for him. And I still remember the words, our man, our man, our man. And as the person who has mobilized the journalists, and I'm like, okay, so how is this story going to turn out? And so, because the situation was so tense, we couldn't continue with the caucus, with the retreat. We had to break off and go to the presidential farm. So when we went to the presidential farm, we were talking. So basically, everybody was rumoring and discussing that. So what is going to happen? So NRM, like we had slogans like NRM Kanungu, NRM Raktura, and so it was becoming visible, and people were taking sides.
You were already divided.
Yes, we're divided. So my side was very clear, obviously. I was with the NRM Raktura. I said, you know what? I think the situation is too tense. We have to say something to make the president happy. So we have to go to the leadership of the caucus. Obviously, I was in the leadership of the caucus. So we approached the leadership of the caucus. They rejected. They said, no, you cannot come here to be moving motions and saying things.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. So, well, I'm a spokesperson, so I need to give a concluding remarks. So there they couldn't say no. So I went after the lunch. I stood up with the microphone without any planned script. I said, for me and my family, we support him because of peace and stability. He's a great man. He came for my wedding. So everything, because I didn't plan with a team, it was so personalized. Like I was giving my justification as Anita. And then concluded by saying, if anybody in this place believes that President Museveni is a great leader and should continue serving us, they should stand up. Oh, my, you have to see. So they stood up.
Basically, you ambushed everybody.
Yes, I did. Now,
and you annoyed so many by
so
that.
Very true. I annoyed so many people that, so there, when we finished and all that, so we're sleeping in dormitories, ministers, everybody was sleeping in the dormitories except cabinet ministers. So when I went to the dormitory, let me tell you, I was abused the whole night. The whole night. So what were you thinking that you're doing? Whom were you pleasing? And getting attacks from senior cabinet ministers, whom I would think that should actually be with the president. And they're saying, no, we need change. They're saying no.
So in other words, people were ready for change.
Some people
but basically you shattered their dreams.
And no, there was a division, divided voices. So I got attacked and I was very frustrated, cried the whole night. And I felt...
Why would you cry knowing that you're on the side of the president and he was amazed by what the motion that you put up?
I'm telling you, I felt like I did something wrong because of the attacks. It was not one person attacking you, many people coming to literally scold you for what you have done. And even saying, so well, your family of only one child. At the time, I only had one baby and my husband. What do you think that, well, how did people even think that you're going to win? So, things like that. So I cried and I stayed late in bed, waited for everyone to go to class, and then went to the restaurant because we had a canteen. So I went into this canteen to have my breakfast. And because I cried the whole night, my eyes were red, and I had no friend at the time. So my only friend came to my rescue. That was Honorable Peter, and then he comes to me and he says, "Anite, why are your eyes red? First of all," I said, "I didn't sleep the whole night." He said, "Why?" I said, "I was attacked for."
Having chosen President Museveni as the sole candidate.
Yes, that was before. I hadn't even chosen him as a sole candidate. I simply had asked people who believed that he should stand up. So I had not even mentioned anything to do with sole candidate. So he told me, "Really? So who are these people? Now what we're going to do, I want to tell you we have the support here. We are going to have to write their names down. So we have to write a motion." And I'm like, okay, I've never written a motion. Remember, this is 2014, and I was just MP 2011. So I had not even come up with my own motion, so I didn't know. The whole thing was far-fetched. My dear, names withheld. But when we arrived to collect the signature, we got this group of people, MPs. They grabbed the motion from my hand and tore it in pieces. We literally went into a fight, and as we're grabbing back, and so we are all starting to fight for the motion. But then they tore it in pieces. And then we're like, this is not just a smooth ride. This is going to be tough. So we had.
So at that point, did you feel like you had completely tried to sail in troubled waters, or
Yes,
you still remained firm?
No, I now knew that there was fire, that there was trouble, because I knew there was fire from Ngoma from the time I started crying. I knew there was fire because I was attacked.
So what kept pushing you that you should have this motion, even after crying the whole night?
The words of encouragement from my colleagues. They just kept on encouraging me and telling me, go, 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 go. And my belief, I believe, first of all, I had this strong conviction that President Museveni, and I still hold it, that he is a great leader. And he needs to be alive. Every time I say that I wish that we had a rewinder, that we could rewind his age and make him younger, because Uganda needs him.
So you'd want him to be younger so that he can
continue leading us.
Leading for the next 50 years?
I wish he had the time. I wish he had the age. He would lead us. We don't even need to put timelines for the sake of peace and stability of our country. For anything good that he has done.
Do you believe in this whole narrative that even a good dancer always leaves the stage?
I believe in the narrative that if you have a winning team, why change?
Why change?
Why change if you have a winning team? So he's winning for us.
But you know that even teams, they wear out.
No, that's
the
true.
People who constitute the team, they wear out. They keep changing. That's why the greatest of football teams, they don't keep the same members of the team throughout. The players are changed, and the teams remain great. Sometimes even the new changes take the teams to the greater heights.
Maybe Sudhir,
do you believe that?
Honestly, my fear is change.
It's just your fear.
Yes, I fear change. So it is so good that I'm like, oh my God, do we really have to change this? Because given our history of changing 8 presidents, some of whom served for 6 months.
How much do you know about the history? You are still young.
I had to read, because to be a minister, you have to read. You have to be a leader generally, you have to acquaint yourself with the past, the present, so that it informs your future. So for me, what informs my consistency on saying no, let's have President Museveni, is reading the history. The economy, as I know that the time he inherited it was at 5 trillion, and I know today we're talking about 49 trillion. So that growth, for me, and the fact that he has pacified Uganda from one end to the other, the fact that, these are the justification that I gave, the fact that he has united us. Now, from the history that I learned, that we were not disunited, we were divided in our lines of dialects, ethnic groups, and all. It still does exist, but it's not to that magnitude of how we were divided on religious backgrounds. Even political parties were formed on religion and tribe. You can talk about some of them, you know them, as Kabaka Yeka and all that, just on tribes and religion, which is very wrong. Now, this is a movement which is for every Ugandan. For as long as you're Ugandan, you are part of the movement. It's a free entry and free exit. If you don't belong, you would move. But anyway, back to that discussion of Chankwazi, and I take you to where I then knelt. So there it is. After they grabbed the paper and tore it in pieces, we realized that then we're in danger. We had to multiply these papers. So we made like 7 copies and divided them among ourselves.
No, but maybe